Good morning, Yankees fans. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles, where fans become family. And it's Rob and Donald. Uncle Tatch is in the chat, as you guys can see. Good morning to everybody. Donald's got his bobblehead out there for our struggling captain. I believe you got that at the 420 game, right?
I did. And a number 62 bubblehead. Bro, why can't you hit? I don't know. All right, here we go.
Tell him to hit the fastball while he's at it. But other than that, it was a bad series for the Yankees, specifically with their offense. We lost the last game. We ended up taking the third game. So losing 3 out of 4 is never fun. We were hoping for at least a split. It was a pretty embarrassing series altogether for the offense. And as you can see by the title of it, is it time to panic about this offense? We are now just a little over a month into the season. Should we panic, or is it still there's too much time for things to turn around?
Don't limit sleep. Hey, you ain't wrong. I don't know if the word panic is the right word, but it's something. It's something. Um, but we'll start with the positives because I think there's still plenty of positives. First of all, we're the first team to get to 20 wins this year. Good start, good basis, right? So, um, whatever we say, we also have to bear in mind that where we were last year to where we are now. So, fine, we've got a little bit of cushion that we can afford to suffer this kind of blow, absorb it, and still move on and have a positive next couple of weeks, hopefully. So winning record aside, that's a pretty solid basis right there. Juan Soto was everything we dreamed of. That's a big positive. Oswaldo Cabrera has been electric offensively, especially from the left side, not particularly from the right side, but from the left side, absolutely. He's been great. And Verdugo has really added a lot. A to the lineup and B to defense. I think he's top 5 in left fielders in defense. That's above average on defense, so he's been excellent in left field. That's a good thing. And yeah, let's see. And the starting rotation. I'm really happy with the starting rotation. And the bullpen's been kind of overused and it's creeped a little, and there's a lot of guys that were missing, but it's held its own, and a lot of it is because of Clay Holmes, who's just been phenomenal, and that's coming from someone who's never really trusted him. I have to say, I'm starting to warm to the point where I'm actually starting to trust him now because his stuff is crazy. His stuff is looking crazy this year, crazy in a good way. So those are some positives. So no, I don't think it's time to panic about the team. The offense, I think there's some things to worry about. I do. I think there's things to worry about. Like the offense on paper is excellent, but there are some issues here. I think the middle of the order is an issue. It seems unathletic, and it seems to be it seems to be a problem where they either whiff or they ground into double plays, and they just seem a little old and a little unathletic. So we need to mix in a more athletic bat in the middle of the order to avoid the double plays. Aaron Judge, I am concerned about. I have to say, I am concerned about Aaron Judge, but in general, I think it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's just it was a bad series. It was a nasty series to watch. I was very unimpressed, uninspired. I felt like, I was watching last year. And yeah, there's things that I want Aaron Boone to work on. And I'm really glad that he finally stood up. to that nonsense that Gleyber Torres puts out on a daily basis. I'm so finally glad that he finally said something. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's a whole topic on its own. But I want to say good morning to everybody in the chat. Will Star, Frederick, Stevie B, Joan Seco is here, NFE, Medina's back, of course. We see the same people every morning, and they're always here right on time, bright and early. That's why we love this crowd we got here. We love this family. That's what Tats always says. Family. That's what we got. Joe, Tats himself is in here. Uncle T, good to see you. He's got his awards today. Uncle Tats, unlike last time, he's got his awards today. So good job, Uncle Tats. What's up to Dev, DabX? Good to see you. Everybody, Jonathan, just the usual suspects. We all are here and enjoying, I wouldn't say enjoying Yankee baseball, but we're all here suffering through Yankees baseball. I'm not panicking about this offense. But yeah, you mentioned a couple of names that you should be concerned about. And Aaron Judge is one of them. It's kind of weird that Stanton gets a lot of hate, but he's been better he's been the better of the two. Rizzo has actually been better than Judge, and that's kind of scary because Rizzo looked lost for a while. The thing with Aaron Judge, what's up, D-Rod? Judge cannot hit the fastball. And it's been a month plus now of just, I think he's got like a 4-something slug against fastball. It might be even lower than that. It's bad. And that's usually a pitch he's going to feast on. Usually he's going to struggle with the breaking stuff, and he'll take the fastball 430 down the right field line or go the opposite way, whatever. It's been rough watching Aaron Judge swing the bat this year. We've seen the flashes of the Aaron Judge of old from the 62 home run season from last year. Even with the toe, he was still hitting. He was still probably our best hitter outside of Torres. And you're seeing these are two guys that cannot hit right now. Torres had his first home run of the season yesterday, and we're supposed to be happy about that after his defense cost us another couple of runs. So it is rough watching them right now, and I don't like it. I really don't. And that's what I was saying the other day is it's not doom and gloom, it's not panic, but it's a little bit of urgency now. Can we get some urgency from this offense? They keep talking about it. Aaron Judge said, "Oh, it's May, it's a new month. We got to get going." Well, we're looking at you. We're looking at you right now, Captain. You got to lead the charge here because Soto's done his part. Verdugo's done his part. Volpe for a while. I want to get to him in a little bit, but we need our captain to step up. That's the bottom line of that. So it's frustrating watching them swing the bat. And yes, do what Uncle Tat says, or else he'll come find you. Respect the Tats.
Good morning, Uncle Tats. I hope gets that roof fixed and gets everything fixed. Poor Uncle T, man. He was looking forward to this show, and then all kinds of things go wrong. But we will have him back next week. So send our love to Uncle T. Aaron Judge, Rob. Let's talk about the captain. What are your thoughts? Are you seeing anything to be concerned about? Do you think it's a slump? Do you think it's physical? Do you think it's mental? What do you see?
It's a bit too long for it to be a slump. If this was the first 2 weeks of the season again, and then he turned it around, then we'd be like, okay, there's Aaron Judge. But this is 30 games now that we're seeing this, or just about to be 30 games. No, it is 30. That's what are we, 20 and 13? Yeah, so 33 games. He has struggled through most of it. So right now he stinks, Joan. There's the only way to put it is he's not good. He's had a couple of big home runs, and the power's still there. We've seen the swings of the Aaron Judge of old. I can't believe I'm saying the Aaron Judge of old, but from the Aaron Judge of last season. Is it mental? Maybe he knows that he's the guy that people are going to look at to turn this thing around. And maybe he's in his own head, like NFE said. Is it the toe? Is it the injury from spring? He keeps saying it's not, but we know never to trust these players or this medical staff and anything they say injury-wise. I hope it's just a mental thing, and it just takes a good series to break him out. But we thought that would be the case against Milwaukee. But then Baltimore came out and just completely shut him down for the most part. They shut down everybody for the most part, but we need Judge to be the guy that kind of breaks that lineup slump. Him and you can't do it. We can't have one guy do it. It can't be just Soto. Cabrera, the occasional big hit that he's been getting is fine and all, but Aaron Judge has to be locked in. He said it himself. It's May. We got to get going. It's a new month. Well, go lead by example. Go out there and do it. If he starts to have a good game, if he starts tonight, has a good series against Detroit, and carries that over to the next series, I'll believe he's coming back to form. But if he keeps having one good series, a bad one, two bad series, and then has a good one, I can't be like, oh, he's back. And I've said it twice now. Is the captain back? And every time I say that, he goes and has another terrible series. So it's rough.
Do you see anything mechanically? Because I was looking at one of the breakdowns, and it does look like the mechanics are slightly off with his swing as opposed to last year even. What it appears to me is that he's not transferring his weight evenly between his through his lower half as he's driving through the ball. It looks to me like his hind leg is collapsing as he's making contact. So he's not generating the kind of power. And I think that's why he is rolling over on a lot of pitches. Because you guys will notice, without having the film, but you guys will notice that he is rolling over on pitches. So there's going to be a lot of ground balls. There's a lot of ground balls to shortstop in particular, ground balls to third base, and very weak flies to left field. So that says to me that he's not generating the power. He's not generating that power that he normally does. Not an authoritative swing. And I have noticed his hind ankle seems to just kind of collapse on itself as he's making contact. It looks a little all off. I don't know, because he does have his own hitting coach. So whatever he's teaching him isn't working, because that's I don't care. You're Aaron Judge, Babe Ruth, fucking Zeus, the Greek god of hitting. If your lower half is collapsing, your back ankle is collapsing, you're not going to hit the ball very hard. So there is obviously an issue mechanically with his swing, because he is not seeing breaking balls. He is late and he's guessing on pitches, and he's rolling over on pitches because he's out in front. That is quite clear to see. So if little old me could see that, I highly expect the Yankees, with their iPads and Rousin, the professional hitting coach, to notice these issues and to start cleaning them up, because it's kind of obvious, right? It's kind of obvious there's something not right with his swing. So I think it's deeper than a slump. Um, I'm actually more concerned about the things that he's saying after what he said yesterday really annoyed me. Right. I was watching Pete's post game show, and they had a clip of Aaron Boone's interview, and Aaron Judge's interview, and Aaron Judge said the offense has been great. What? The offense has been great. Really, pretty happy with it. Oh, you know what? If I'm not batting 1,000, I'm not happy, but I'm pretty happy with it. And, like, bro, read the room. You don't say that when you've lost a series to the team that you're competing for to win the division. You're supposed to be the captain of the Yankees. Now, when you are a captain of the Yankees, it's pretty symbolic and it's pretty meaningful. It also means that you represent the organization. And then you compare with our previous captain, who for me is still the captain, Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was never happy unless there was a World Series. Never happy. They could be 159-1 going into the final 2 games of the season, and he would still be unhappy unless there was a World Series at the end of it, because there was nothing else to play for other than to win a World Series. And I'm hearing Aaron Judge, and he just seems pretty chilled. It was fine. We're good. Um, that's not what I expect from my captain. I expect more. I expect better. Um, no, I'm not saying that he needs to be, angry and yelling and going after people. No, I'm not saying any of that. But as a captain, what I expect are a few things. Lead by example. One, he's not doing that because he's playing like shit. Okay. That aside, sometimes you can't control performance. But you can hold other people's accountable. Gleyber Torres has been making mental errors on a daily basis and making absolutely dumbfounding errors on a daily basis. I would expect my captain in the dugout, not publicly, not on the field, but in the dugout, to go talk to him. What are you seeing? What are you doing? I know maybe Aaron Boone's role as well, but Aaron Boone can't be in control of everything. I still expect my captain to hold people accountable. Aaron Judge, now he doesn't need to yell at him because he's friends with him. I don't care. I don't know. But there has to be a way in which you can talk to him going, right, bro, use your glove, right? Right. Make sure you hustle to first base. Make sure you hustle home plate. Make sure you throw to the right base, right? That is what the captain should be doing. I would guarantee you he doesn't do any of that. None of it. Why? Because it happens on a daily basis. Now, and Gleyber Torres makes the same errors on a daily basis. Not just Gleyber. There's been mental errors all over the field. Why is Aaron Judge so happy with it? He shouldn't be happy with it. That was an awful series to watch. It was awful. In fact, the Yankees should be paying us to watch that series. That was a horrible, horrible series to watch. It was ugly. Terrible performances. All 4 games, largely, apart from some nice pitching and a 2-run home run from Ozzy. And apart from that, it was an awful series to watch. What was Aaron Judge so happy about? Aaron Judge, as my captain, should be talking to people. I'm saying not on the field, although you could have a word with people. Just whisper in their ear. Do better. Come on. Puff them up, boost them up, whatever. Do something that absolutely shows some leadership, because I'm not seeing any leadership from Aaron Judge. Now, I know it's easy to say that when you're slumping, you're batting 190. But as I say, it goes deeper than performance. Sometimes you go through slumps. Fine. I'm not overly worried about Aaron Judge's 197. I still think it's pretty bad, but can't 100% control it. But what I do think he can control is making sure the people around him are doing their jobs. So Rizzo running to the warning track. I know you're best friends with him, bro, but you should be talking to him. Make sure that Soto calls that off. These kind of things that you need to be nipping those in the bud. Gleyber Torres, mental errors. Talk to him. That 9th inning where the Yankees were swinging at pitches over their heads against Webb when they just mailed it in when they're down 4-2. Aaron Judge should be talking to them. Boost them up. That's what the captain should be doing. I don't see that. I don't think he's a leader. I still don't believe he's a captain. I don't. Derek Jeter's a captain, right? Because, let's face it, none of that would have happened under Derek Jeter's watch. Or even Jorge Posada's watch. Those guys had fire. And look at Soto. He is doing everything possible to try and win every single game. Am I seeing that from Aaron Judge? No. If Aaron Judge strikes, no. Juan Soto is doing everything possible to try and win every single game, every single at-bat. And he's the leader. You can see it. When they lost, right? While Aaron Judge is like, chewing his gum and stuff, Soto is staring pinpoint through that frickin' dugout because he's pissed off. He's not happy. He wants to win. I can see the win. And I can see how much he wants to win right through his eyes. That's what I want from my captain. That's what I want to see, leadership. Dev Finch says, I think the Yankees don't have real leadership on this team. Now, I'm not going to just spend the whole time beating up on Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a generational player, right? So if anyone is misconstruing me here, don't misconstrue me. He is a generational player. He's a generational hitter. He's one of the best hitters of all time, right? You don't hit 62 home runs by accident, right? He is a wonderful player. Wonderful, wonderful representation of the Yankees. I'm completely delighted that we've got him for the next 10 years because he's going to make history. He is. And he's going to fix this, and he's going to hit 45 home runs this year. All this is true. But just because you're a generational player doesn't make you a captain necessarily. I just don't see that kind of captain material there. I just don't. But he is a wonderful player.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lou. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. If that was the case, why didn't he do it in 2019 or 2018 when they were the balls were juiced in those years too? 2021, you could say the balls were juiced. Let's not do that. Nobody else was hitting the ball the way he was that year. Let's not take away from what he did in 2022, Lou. I'm sorry.
No, we can't think that way. It's history. He made history. We're so blessed to watch history, and we're blessed to have him on our team. It's I'm not beating up on Aaron Judge. I just would like to see if he's going to be the captain. I still believe that they shouldn't have done so early. I think that if you're going to give him the captain, you give it to him when he wins a World Series. Fine, but for me, as a Yankee fan, the Yankees, the expectation should always be winning a World Series. He hasn't done that yet. He hasn't really shown that he's a leader of men yet. He's a leader of the locker room, leader of the Yankees, but leader of men, I believe, is what captain should be. I've not seen that yet from him, but this is a perfect opportunity from now on to show that. I don't think it's his personality, though. He's a California guy, West Coast guy, kind of chill. But Rob, give me your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree, whatever? Give me your thoughts.
I think Katz brings up a great point from earlier. It's hard to visit Judge giving advice to his teammates when he's having the same struggles. So what you can do is call a team meeting.
Yeah.
Call a players meeting. I know it's 32 games into the season, but when you're struggling the way they are struggling, don't go out there and say, "Oh, everything's fine. We're going to get it going." We trust that he's going to get it going. I obviously believe that he's going to get it going. I'm not going to say they regret the contract. None of that nonsense. I don't think they're going to take the captainship away from him. I'm not going to say they shouldn't have gave it to him. They should have. He was the captain of this team. He is the captain of this team, but now he's got to go out there and show it. Lead by example, and then you can go and give out those harsh words in the locker room if you have to, or pull someone aside and be like, let's get this going. But when you're struggling the way he is, it's hard to be like, hey, man, get going, because then he'd be like, you're not going. What are you doing? What are you doing at the plate? And that can cause a rift. I know he's the captain. It's going to be difficult for someone to talk back to Aaron Judge because it's not going to go well for them. But it is hard to tell someone you're doing something wrong when you're also having issues yourself. So that I can see that being a problem. But the easiest way to fix that is to start hitting, and then nobody will care anymore. If he was hitting the way Aaron Judge usually hits, and Joan brought up a good point, he's got 18 RBIs and should be about 30 with the way he usually hits. So until he starts doing that, and then all this talk can be quieted down. I know he's going to turn it around. We know this. We've said this countless times this season. We know that's going to come around. He's going to come around. He's going to start hitting tanks again. But it has to happen sooner than later because one man cannot run the show. And Joan, you're right. Soto and Glaber are great friends. Pull him aside, Soto. No, I know he's hitting, so we're not going to – I don't want to put any sort of negativity towards Soto, but this is a team. You know, it can't just be on one guy. No, he got the captain spot, but this is a whole team. Like, I think it's just Glaber can't be coached. I'm sure somebody has talked to him. You can't tell me that no one has said a word to this guy about these issues because it's been going on for several years. I think it's just something like he can't process what people are telling him, or it's just like maybe he wants to make the big play. Why are you not sticking the glove out? Just catch the ball with your glove. These are things that you're taught early on And it's like he's missing these things. And it was the same issues with Gary Sanchez. As much as I like Gary Sanchez, it didn't matter how many people told him this is an issue, this is an issue. It's like he didn't listen. So maybe Gleyber Torres is that with him? He just doesn't want to listen. Low baseball IQ, like Jones said. I don't know, but I don't want to place all the blame on Judge for these issues, and I don't want to place any sort of blame on Soto for what's going on with Gleyber. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Nobody does besides the Yankees. So I'm not going to sit here and tell people that they're not doing anything to try to fix this. I'm hoping they are. If they're not, that's an absolute embarrassment. If they're telling Gleyber, don't worry, kid, you'll get him next time. He's been in the league since 2018. So it's an issue, though. The offense is an issue. Aaron Judge should not have said it's fine because it's not fine. And yeah, I just want to see it get fixed. The only thing that's kind of keeping me from going crazy is the fact that it is just May 3rd. And they could easily have a great month of May, and we're not even worrying about this. Next time they see Baltimore, they can beat them 2 out of 3 or whatever the next series is. So we know we know that can happen. We know how baseball works. It's a weird sport. There's so many games that anything can change on a series to series basis. But the only thing I'm going to say right now is it needs to happen soon, because I said it prior to that Milwaukee series, it could spiral very quickly. That good start can be erased if you have a really bad stretch. And I don't want to see that happen because this team is too good. And I'll leave it at that.
I don't think they're doing it with Gleyber Torres because in previous years, every time the Gleyber Torres made a mental error, Aaron Boone would excuse it in the postgame. He'd be like, "Oh, he tried really hard. Oh, he feels bad about it. It's fine." And he never sits. He's never benched. There's never any conversations in the dugout. Maybe it's happening behind the scenes, but it's obviously not getting through to him. So whatever tactics they're taking with Gleyber Torres isn't working. They're handling him with kid gloves. We can all agree on that, right? They aren't showing tough love with him. They're treating him, and it's a good comparison, very similar to Gary Sanchez. Do you think that he's so mentally, like, I'd say the word weak, because there's an absence of a better word, that he can't handle strong criticism? Because Gary Sanchez got Joe Girardi fired. And not deliberately, but just by the fact that Joe Girardi showed him tough love. The Yankee organization didn't like that. And so they're treating Gleyber Torres very similarly. Kid gloves. Oh no. Oh, he's so good. He's so great. He's the top 10 defender. He's this, he's that. Right. But he's also making ridiculous errors on a daily basis. It's costing us games. It's costing us runs. And I'm talking about the margins. And especially against teams like the O's, when we're competing for a division, you're not going to score 10 to 15 runs against the Baltimore Orioles. You're just not. Maybe on a one-off, but this Orioles team's very fucking good. These games are going to be tight. These games are going to go to the wire. It's all about the margins. You're only going to beat them if you're winning on the margins. And Gleyber Torres is costing us the margins. And that's why I'm so happy to hear Aaron Boone finally say, this is the big leagues. You've got to use your glove. That is the harshest I've ever heard Aaron Boone ever. And I love it. Because guess what? Aaron Boone might be realizing that it's all coming down on him anyway. If this goes all wrong around him, and this team doesn't succeed, he's going to get the blame on it. So if I'm Aaron Boone, this is your year to show up. This is your year to show what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and what Gleyber Torres did by not catching the ball with his glove, trying to catch it with his bare hand, is something that he should have been benched for it. And I'm at the bare minimum, I'm very glad that Aaron Boone has said something. Now, as for what Aaron Judge's role in this is, there's one thing that Aaron Judge does, and it's regardless of whether he's hitting or not. He plays hard every single day. That's a great thing. He runs out every ground ball hard. He plays hard every single day. We're very lucky to have that. That is fantastic, right? He'll play left field, he'll play center field, he'll play right field. He'll play wherever the Yankees want him to play. That is a leader as well, right? So I'm not saying he's not a leader. So, with that in mind, he doesn't make those mental mistakes that Gleyber Torres does make. So, yes, he actually can talk to him. He has every right to talk to him, right? Because guess what? Baseball is very hard. You're a Hall of Famer if you're successful 30% of the time, right? It's a very hard sport. So, hitting aside, he also has the resume. Not too worried about his resume. My God, he's the home run champion. So, not worried about his resume. He has every right to talk to someone. I think he should be talking. Now, whether it's in the dugout, in the locker room, or whispering in his ear, I want to see a little bit more from him. I'm not seeing that. I also would like to see if the Yankees are losing, I don't want to see them yucking it up. I want to see them look pissed off. Right? That's what they should be. Now, it's good to have a free, loose locker room. Right? But there's certain things that is kind of important. And this is not a year where they can accept second best. You've got Juan Soto for 12 months. If you want Juan Soto for longer, you need to start showing that this team is legit and for real and serious. So, the kind of things that they could maybe get away with before, I'd like to see changed a little bit. Now, I know I sound a little bit like the old man on the lawn, but again, from what my experience of winning is, as a Yankee fan, and that was back in the dynasty, the 90s and the noughties, this team didn't celebrate single wins. So not having a party after every single win, having your freaking boob box going off and this, that, and the other. There needs to be a little bit more. Let's get down to business, right? Good, we got that one. Let's get go through each series, aim to win each series. I get down to business. This is not. I'm sorry. After last year, you can't afford to be chilled out anymore. Oh, it's fine. It's cool. No. That's aside. That's done now. Now it's time to get down to business. So I need to see that from my captain. I'm not seeing that from my captain. I'm seeing it from Juan Soto, though. And I know that Soto and Torres are friends, but I can kind of understand why Soto maybe doesn't want to tread on anyone's toes. He's only just come in. He doesn't want to upset the apple cart. There's clearly ways things are done, and he's just trying to get used to that. So he's not going to just come marching in with his size 9s and be like, Torres, what the fuck are you doing? That's on the captain. That's on the manager.
No, you're right. I just hope that something is done as quickly as possible, because I don't want it to spiral. And Tats hit Gleyber below the belt. Baseball is a game of failures, and Torres is a professional at it. So, Uncle Tats in the chat with the jokes. Bringing the fire. It's good to see some nice jokes once in a while in this chat. Hope I didn't just summon the worst joke teller of all time with that one. However, if there's any positives in this series, pitching was great up until Rodon yesterday. I'm not even going to really get too mad at him. It was his worst start of the season, and he's been great up until yesterday, and it wasn't like we were hitting, so they could have scored 5 runs and the game would have been over anyway. What can we say about this pitching that hasn't been said yet? Because they pitched their ass off in this entire series up until yesterday, and they weren't getting helped by the defense at all. But the bullpen was fine. Hamilton, I'm a little concerned about him, but we can get into that. You mentioned Clay Holmes earlier. He was fantastic. Luis Heel pitched like an absolute madman the other night. So let's try to get some positives in here. What about the kid? What about Luis Heel going on the road against Corbin Burns and out-dueling him just by a little bit, but out-dueled Corbin Burns out there in Baltimore? That was impressive.
Perfect words. Impressive. He had all his pitches were working. He wasn't walking anyone, and that's the key. Location with him. The thing is, Heel's pitches are amazing. It's just location with him. If he can keep these pitches in and around the zone, the sky is the limit with Luis Heel. He's got ace potential. So I'm not surprised that he mowed down the Baltimore Orioles. Not surprised in the least. And what I love is the fact that he's got that confidence about him, because you can tell he's got that moxie on the mound where it doesn't matter who's pitching against him. He's facing Corbin Burns, probably the second best pitcher in baseball outside of Garrett Cole. And he was completely undaunted by him. He's like, I'm going to focus on my job. I'm going to get these outs. And he did it. And I love his pitches. I love his stuff. And I love his confidence. And this great is that there's nothing that I see other than his location issues, but a lot of that is mental, that is going to be a problem for him down the line. Like, for instance, Davy Garcia. We liked him when he first got called up, right? But his big issue is he was too small, right? And when you're kind of, his kind of size isn't normally constituted to a successful ace type career. Do you know what I'm saying? He's a little small, and he didn't have the fastball for it. Okay, and but with Luis Heel, he's a big dude, and he's got a massive fastball. He's got a massive slider, and a nice changeup now that he's mixing in really well. And it's just, and he's got that confidence, like you believe, and I get the sense that he believes. He's the man out there, and I'll have to give Aaron Boone credit, because Aaron Boone's managed him very, very well. Personally, I think he's managed him excellently. When Hernandez was messing with his head, Aaron Boone spoke to him very sternly in the dugout. He's like, "You're the man out there. You've got that stuff. Your stuff is unhittable. Just go out there. Trust your stuff. Don't let outside noise affect you." Right? And he's done it, and he's been great since. So I think Aaron Boone, I'm going to call him out for certain things, but there's certain things that I think he's done very, very well with, and he's doing a really nice job with Luis Heel, because when Luis Heel lost the strike zone for those two starts, it could have spiraled. It's done the opposite. It's been fixed, and now he's an absolute assassin on the mound. So credit to Matt Blake and Aaron Boone, and most importantly, credit to Luis Heel. And Frederick, I'm not calling out Davy Garcia. Davy Garcia, I like him, but I'm just saying that his size on the mound doesn't normally constitute to being a number one or number two star. He's a little bit too small. Doesn't have the kind of makeup that you would expect. And it's turned out that way. But Luis Heel has everything.
And Garcia also messed with his delivery one year.
Yeah.
That didn't help him. We all know, we talked about pretty much every show at the start of this whole thing about the playoff performance and what they did to him there. So they really set that kid up for failure after a really impressive start to his career. And we're not going to get into that rabbit hole again, because we're going to go back in time 4 years to a previous edition of the show. But I can't say enough about Heel. He's been outstanding. You thought there was going to be some sort of limit. Joan brings up 100 innings. They never actually said that. So he could blow past 100 innings at this rate. And NFE brought it up earlier. He's making a case to stay in the rotation when Cole gets back. That's something we have to start thinking about, because it's May. If Garrett Cole stays on track, he could be back the first week of June. What's going on, Fritz? How you doing?
Art Vandelay.
Good to see you, my man.
Vandelay Industries.
What do we do? Boone did say 100 innings. All right. Well, and then what do they do now? Do they put him in the bullpen? Because I think that's gonna hurt him. I really think that's gonna hurt him. I don't want to see that. So, but if he goes to the minors, he's still going to pitch. So I was in a Twitter space with NFE the other night, and this was brought up. I can't remember who it was that actually brought up the idea. Might have been Hitman. And he said that when Cole comes back, you have Schmidt and Heel kind of piggyback off each other each start. And because Clark Schmidt's not a guy, he's still, for a whole year and a half now, he can't give you more than 5 innings. And you want to manage Heel's innings. So do you do something like that where Schmidt maybe gives you 4 and then you can go to Heel for a couple? Or do you have Heel start the game and then go to Schmidt? What do you do there? Just the way you can kind of give the bullpen a little breather. I'm not really sure what they do there because Nestor Cortez hasn't pitched poorly enough to say he's getting kicked out. Schmidt's been fine despite the fact that he can't give you more than 5 1/3. Rodon's doing his thing. Stroman's not going anywhere. So what do you do with this rotation when we get Garrett Cole back?
It's actually fairly simple for me. Nestor Cortez off to the bullpen for you, brother. I think I think it would be detrimental for Luis Gil. You built him up to be a starter. He's now pitching lights out stuff. He's out dueling Corbin Burns. He has the upside. I've always been a believer that a starter is more important than a bullpen arm, right? But that's because I'm old school. And again, it sounds like I can get off my lawn, but I would rather a starter with ace stuff give me 6 innings than having a starter that's in relief pitching 2 innings of lights out, right? Because who's going to start? Nestor Cortez? No thanks. I'm good. There's no disrespect to Cortez because Cortez has pitched fairly well, right, to this point. But Luis Gil's better. He's just better. And I would feel like it would be treated as a defeat for him if he got demoted. And I certainly don't want to see him in AAA. That would be a terrible mistake if they send him down to AAA after the way he started already this year. So they can't do that. And I don't know. I've always been in the belief that, like, it's, when you think about the jobber rules, like, you make a decision and you stick with that decision. So they made the decision with Luis Gil being a starter, so they need to stick with it. And Luis Gil needs to be a starter, and he needs to stick that way. And he needs to be in the starting rotation. If they need to manage his innings, fine. Just have a long reliever ready to come in after 5 innings. Fine, I don't care. But I'd keep him in the rotation.
Yeah, I think at this point, if this keeps up for the next month, I don't think there's any way you take him out. The only thing, and that Joan brings it up, is they're not going to let him go too many innings. So the only option is you're not shutting him down. The only option is you put him in the bullpen and manage his innings the rest of the way through. So does he give you, I don't know how many innings he's pitched at this point, but he's not going to get to 100 for a little while, obviously. So when he gets to that point, do you then just put him in the bullpen or gets close to 100? Do you just have him pitch an inning and then sit him a day, then have him pitch an inning or two? Like, I don't know what you do with him, but it hurts his value, and it kind of hurts him to say, hey, you pitch really well, but we can't overuse your arm, so we're going to demote you. I don't know what you do there. Nestor Cortez, in my opinion, hasn't pitched poorly enough to demote him out, but he's probably the odd man out if you're looking at stuff. If he has a terrible month, then obviously he's going to get sent to the bullpen, but it all depends on what happens the rest of the way. Rodon, Stroman, they're safe. They're not going anywhere. Heel is the one that I'm scared. He's got 31 innings. Okay, thank you. So we still got plenty of innings to go until he reaches the 100 mark. So what do you do then? In the next month, let's say he's at 60 or 58 or something like that. Do you have him go out of the bullpen the rest of the way just to make sure he doesn't go too far over the 100 mark? Because they do have to worry about that because we're seeing pitchers go down like flies every other day. There's another pitcher with an arm injury. I know he just came back from it. I don't want to see it happen, but I have a feeling that's what their thinking is. It's like, well, we're not going to take Nestor out. We're not going to take Schmidt out. Heel's got this limit. You got to think long term, like D-Rod says. Again, I don't agree with anything here because I think Heel has earned his spot and he should keep his spot. But I also want to make sure that he's going to be here next year, the year after that. And this way we don't have to worry about a limit with him. So that is probably the most likely scenario. They're not going to trade anybody. Like, I don't know. It sucks. It really does.
When Cole comes back, can they do a sixth man, but with Garrett Cole staying on the same regular schedule?
I wonder how you would you give Schmidt like an extra day? Do you give Nestor an extra day?
Yeah, that could work because then at least you're giving Heel a rest and you're not overusing him. I would consider that. I would keep him in the rotation. I would. I've always been a believer of that. Joe thinks it's a good idea. The thing is, what I'm thinking is that with arms, it's hard to manage and say, oh, well, we'll protect them from getting hurt because they can get hurt at any second. One throw and they can get hurt, right? It can happen, right? It can happen in your warm up. It can happen in your bullpen just before the start. It could happen at any point. So I'm not saying overuse it at all. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of hard to manage that way. I think if he's just come off injury, his arm's fully healthy. You can't have Tommy John surgery. I know he's not going to have Tommy John surgery again. I don't think. Well, certainly not this year or next year ever. And so, let him pitch. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that they should just write it out with him. But again, they're probably gonna have a cap, and that's the most likely scenario. Joe says 120 to 130, maybe skip a few starts, or it's the bullpen. That's something I can see them doing. Maybe you try an opener. Yeah, maybe you try an opener thing. Use him for like 2-3 innings, and then go to Schmidt. You can do something like that. Just this way, you can manage his innings, but not take him off his rhythm because we saw that happen to him. They skipped his start when he had the doubleheader and he got rocked. So I don't want to see that happen. He needs to stay in his rhythm just as everyone else does, Rodon as well. So, yeah, we'll just see. We still got a month to go, so I'm not going to get too worked up on that. But it is a conversation that we need to have because it's a month away. It's going to get here fast. What's Fritz saying here? Even John Boy did the math. Not only old-timers struggling, Volpe, aside from the first stretch, hitting around 160 or less, OPS of 600 or worse, not only because of the leadoff spot, his approach is back to 23. I wanted to bring that up. He has struck out now 23 times since going to leadoff.
Mm-hmm.
He only struck out 8 when he was batting 5th or 6th. His approach has completely reverted back to 2023. I know he had the big hit. I think he had a triple the other day. He is not looking good at all. And I know I've said, oh, now you got to keep him. I'm completely reversing my state. Put him back in the bottom of the order. I don't care who you put leadoff at this point. You want to go to Verdugo? Boone also said Verdugo was going to hit cleanup when he came back. He wasn't hitting cleanup yesterday. So what are we doing here? Do something because you're already you had a good stretch of 8 games where Anthony Volpe was looking like the breakout star we thought he would be, and you messed with it. It was too early. I knew it was too early. I did not want them to make the switch, and I'm unfortunately was proven right from that. He looks bad. He looks really bad, and it's the exact same problem he had last year. The swing is uppercut again, a slight bit of an uppercut, not like it was last year, but the approach. He's swinging at bad pitches. He's rolling over pitches. The strikeouts are way up. I hate it because he was doing so well, and I said it before the season. If he breaks out to start the year, hitting in the bottom of the order, don't mess with it. You'll figure out leadoff when DJ is back. You can go with Birdie. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Verdugo's an option. Even Glaber wasn't having terrible at-bats in the leadoff spot. They should never have switched it, and he looks bad, and I can't stand it. I hate that I was right about it, and I'm praying that this next month goes in a different direction for him. But they really need to consider dropping him out of that leadoff spot because he looks lost.
He's 18 of his last 84. 18 for 84. That says it all. Yeah, they need to move him down. They need to move him down. It's as simple as that. I was a little annoyed when I listened to Aaron Boone on Talking Yanks, and he said that all the reasons why Verdugo is exactly what he wants in the cleanup spot. He's athletic. He all the things that we've been talking about. Contact guy, athletic, breaks up the lefties and righties, and he's definitely coming back to be a cleanup hitter next game. Next game comes around, he's batting in the sixth spot. And the reasoning for that, apparently, was to give him a rest because he's a bit tired, because he hadn't slept much. Then why is he in the game at all? What difference is it if you're in the fourth spot or in the sixth spot? You're still coming up in big spots. He came out with the bases loaded. What do you think? What do you think? Because you're batting sixth, there's going to be less pressure on you? That didn't make any sense to me. It made no sense to me. If you're going to say he's going to be a cleanup hitter, he's a cleanup hitter. Do it. What are you easing him into? There's no soft landing as a Yankee. It doesn't matter if you're batting first or ninth. There is no soft landing. You're held to the same standards. I'm sorry. It's true. I don't know where he got off in saying, oh, we just wanted to, give him a bit of a break, take the pressure off him a little bit. Well, I'm sorry. You came up with the bases loaded, for Christ's sake. There's no easy landing for him. So just have him in the cleanup spot. If that's what you wanted to do, have him in the cleanup spot. But the truth is, he should be a leadoff hitter. That's what he's been doing his entire career. Now I'm getting pissed off. But it's true. He's been doing that his entire career. He's an excellent leadoff hitter. Why are the Yankees trying to reinvent the wheel? Why? What are you trying to reinvent? I think he's too good to be a sixth hitter. I do. I don't think he's a proper cleanup hitter. I don't. But at least at the moment, he has a little bit of athleticism, which we don't have. And I do think it's important to break up the lefties and righties and have someone that isn't going to ground it in a ton of double plays. But I think the perfect spot for him is leadoff hitter. And then you work from there. Judge Soto, Soto Judge, whichever way you want. Who's going to be the cleanup hitter? Oh, God, I don't know. I don't know. Because if Verdugo's going to lead off, who's going to clean up? I mean, dude, that's what I'm worried about with this offense. Because we do need...
Jason Dominguez, please come back.
Because we do need to break up the lefties and righties, which Rizzo can do. But we also need someone that isn't going to ground out a ton of double plays and look old and takes 10 years to run to first base. That's what I'm concerned about. Unbelievably, despite how great this offense looks, this offense does look like they're one bat short. So,
and we did have 3 games of Trent Grisham, bottom of the order, so that was fun. Austin Wells had a home run, and they sat him the next day, so that was a great idea.
I do feel for Wells, man. He is running into some really bad luck. He tattoos that ball, and it never lands where it needs to land.
Yeah. Hopefully they try something different because right now it's really it's not working. And I just think put Verdugo lead off when the season started, putting him lead off, and we probably don't have these issues. It just kept Volpe where he was because why break a good thing? We talked about this already. But I do want to get into prospect of the week because we are getting closer to that 11 o'clock mark, and we still got to do awards.
Prospect of the week.
Prospect of the week. So, We're going to go with everyone's favorite hitter that is not named Jason Dominguez because Spencer Jones, after a couple of days off with a bad neck to start the season, has been tearing it up. First 60 at bats or 59 out in Double A Somerset. I don't think it's going to be very long that he's going to spend out there in Somerset. Hitting 288, a couple of home runs, 9 ribbies. He's already stolen 4 bags, an 829 OPS. He had an RBI hit yesterday going the other way. He's looking fantastic. And everyone that has been praising him this entire offseason and saying he's an untouchable, you look like you were right. He has been out freaking standing, and I'm so excited for this guy in the future. So far, an outstanding start to the Double A season. Don't see him being there very long. Then again, they like to keep guys there in Double A because that's where the best prospects are. Because when you get to Triple A, you're playing a bunch of journeymen. So he'll probably spend a good chunk of the season there, but unless something goes catastrophically wrong with this offense, I don't think you're going to see him at the major league level. But 2025 spring training, Spencer Jones should have an inside track on a spot on this team. I don't know if it's in center field, first base, a hybrid. He hasn't played first base at all, so I don't think they have that in the cards for him. But they got to find a spot for this kid's bat as soon as next year because he has looked fantastic throughout the spring, and it has not cooled off. Remember last year, Dominguez had a fantastic spring, but it cooled off to start the season. It has not happened yet for Spencer Jones.
It's not going to happen with Spencer Jones. We saw him in spring. I was like, am I just witnessing a perfect offensive player? That dude never swung and missed. He's like Juan Soto. He's like a young Juan Soto. Like he's got such a great command of the zone. He generates so much power. I'm so excited about Spencer Jones. Him and Dominguez are going to be lightning. And with Soto there for the next 10, 12 years, then there's so much to be excited about. Really. I love Spencer Jones. Love him.
Yeah, he's going to be fun. And Joe, I don't see it's going to happen this year. I mean, unless there's a bad injury or something, I don't see Jones here at all this year. But he is making a case to be someone that they call up. Dominguez is obviously higher up on the totem pole because of what he did last year. He's going to get on this team when he's healthy, 100% healthy. But Spencer Jones is following a very similar path to Aaron Judge. And I'm not comparing him to Judge. I'm saying compare their paths to the big leagues. He was just drafted 2 years ago. Judge was drafted in 2013, got here in 2016. Because they had that college experience, it can fast track your way to the majors. And I remember talking to Tats about this like last year on Twitter. Jones is following a very similar path to Judge on his way to the major league. So I think by next year, Spencer Jones will absolutely be on this team on opening day.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I can't wait to see the two of them. Him and Dominguez.
It's going to be Thunder and Lightning. Which one is Thunder? Probably Spencer Jones.
I think, spoiler alert, I think we're going to see a lot of Spencer Jones being in the prospect of the week for the rest of the season.
If this keeps up, he might just be. But with that being said, it is time for these awards of this dreadful. Oh, it was so fun.
Boy.
This 4-game set with the Orioles. It is award time. Donald, take it away.
The MVP goes to all of us for watching that intrepid season of nonsense. No, the MVP is easy. The only player that decided to turn up for this series, apart from the pitching and Aussie, Juan Soto. It's getting a little bit boring and repetitive because it's been every week. Juan Soto. Sometimes I try and change things up a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's still Juan Soto. I mean, I couldn't have had more sympathy for him for when he got on first, he stole second, and then tried to steal third, and I'm sure he would have tried to steal home if he could, because at the end of the day, he ain't dumb. He knows that Aaron Judge isn't driving him home, and he knows that neither is Giancarlo Stanton or Anthony Rizzo or Glenn Gleyber Torres for that fact. So that brother, God bless him, tried to steal every base he possibly could to get to score. I feel for him. he's left on an island right now. He
Yeah.
really is. He's left on an island. I mean, apart from Ozzy, who I give credit to for that home run. Um, I mean, Gleyber Torres has been nonsense. Anthony Rizzo's he's been all right, but um, still not exactly inspiring. Grisham's a joke. Verdugo, we missed him. Aaron Judge is in the worst form of his career, and Stanton can't run. He can't move. So Soto has to do it all himself, and by God he tried. What about that home run that he sent into downtown Baltimore?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't know if they did they
even
put a
know how
marker down?
I don't even know how they measured his 470 feet, considering it went into the street. So like, it was out of the ballpark entirely. It was probably rolling down into a bar somewhere, some Irish pub that Uncle Tats was drinking in downtown Baltimore. No, I don't know, bro. Soto is he's everything.
Yeah.
He's everything. Signed him for 12 years, and I feel nothing but sympathy for him that he has to be around these jokers. So he's the MVP. It's pretty clear that everyone else agrees. So that's fine. And Rob, who's your MVP?
Well, I'm actually going to go a little bit different than this one. I'm going to give it to Clay Holmes. We don't have a win without Clay Holmes in this series. He came out for a 5-out save. He saved Hamilton's ass, and then he was absolutely disgusting to where even the Orioles manager was like, "Yeah, that's filthy. That's just ridiculous stuff." I'm going to give it to Clay Holmes. He's pitched his ass off so far this series, and he is the only reason we have a win right now, because had they left Hamilton in, the Orioles would have come back and won the game.
Oh, Rob, changing it up. Now let's get Uncle Tat's MVP.
He
MVP,
has Soto. Only bat that gives a fuck is Juan Soto. That is
my boy,
Bobby Tatz's direct quote.
my boy. Well done, Uncle T. And Juan De Soto. Okay, low key MVP. We'll ask Rob first.
So this is where I have Soto, kind of the second MVP, co-MVP. He came through. He had that huge home run. He hit the triple yesterday that for some reason, I know that was talked about earlier in the chat. Michael K was like trying to rip into him. Michael K is quickly becoming like my least favorite commentator. He's just dreadful to listen to. He's boring. You messaged me about how boring the broadcast was. They're bad. And Michael K is like, it's like he doesn't even care anymore. He's been doing this forever. Maybe it's time for him to step away too. Anyway, Juan Soto did everything he possibly could to try to give us a chance to win this game or win this series and win anything in this series. So co-MVP, low-key MVP, Juan Soto.
Great point about Michael K. I don't know what's going on with Michael K. Maybe it's just because he's been doing it forever that he's kind of like mailing it in now. Because I was a huge fan of his broadcasts, but this year he's legit putting me to sleep. So he just kind of drones on about like the history of like umpires fucking strikeout calls and dude's underwear since 1985. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't care what happened in 1985. How many hits such and such got on the 3rd of May 1985. Great, congratulations. Can you talk about the game, please? There is a game going on in front of you. Okay, yeah, low-key MVP. Soto, fine. Stevie, the fans. Who do the fans have as low-key MVP?
Got a couple for Waldo, I think. Or we got
Waldo. Yeah, Waldo is a good one. Stevie B has Holmes. Low-key Holmes. Frederick has Holmes. Wow, I think Holmes wins. It's 2-1. So we're gonna give it to Holmes. I think that's a good one. I think that's a pretty good one. Let's ask Uncle Tats. Uncle Tats low key MVP. He says the pitching staff keeping us in games while the bats continue to fail. Very fair. Very fair. From Uncle T there. We will go with the pitching staff. Okay. Me. Yeah, it's kind of in between Holmes and Aussie. It's a tough one. It's kind of 50-50. Because Aussie hit that 2-run home run. We don't win otherwise. Because that game, we could have gone 15 innings and not scored.
Yeah.
That game. No matter what Clay Holmes does. Let's be fair. But I will give the low-key MVP to Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is my low-key MVP because, in general, he kind of has been this season. If it wasn't for his 0 ERA, we'd be in so much trouble. And I say that very honestly. His stuff has been electric. His slider has been electric. His sinker is electric. It's the fact that his slider is now, or slider slash sweeper, or whatever you want to call it. It's the fact that there's even more movement on it. I'm sure it just seems a little bit more dramatic. And now he's locating it, which is great. And now he's trusting it, which is even better. Then you add that with his power turbo sinker. He's nigh on unhittable. And I have to give Clay Holmes a ton of credit, man, because I've been particularly tough on him over the last couple of years, but this is a different Clay Holmes this year. He seems to be a little bit tougher mentally, and he's not just a one pitch pitcher now. That was my issue with him. All he had was, well, he always had the sweeper and all that stuff, but he didn't really trust it. Now he's trusting it. It's better this year. Because me and Rob were talking about this. What's the difference? And that's my opinion. I just think that he's trusting his slider slash sweeper more, and it's getting the results. Rob, what do you think?
No, you're right. His stuff was like 2 years ago. He was off to a fantastic start, but it didn't look this dirty. Like his stuff is downright disgusting right now, and that slider has been so much better. And I'm really happy to see it because I wasn't as harsh on Holmes going into the season. I was okay with him as the closer because I kept saying the guy's got the best stuff in the bullpen to be a closer. And so far, he's proven me right. But I'm hoping that we don't see that Chapman-esque wall that he has hit before the last 2 years. And if he can avoid that, he's going to be outstanding. And Frederick brings up a good point. He's going for the contract. He wants to stay. It is a contract year.
Unlike Gleyber Torres, he's earning it. The Clutch Award, Rob.
I'm giving that to Waldo.
Yeah.
Because without him, obviously, I know I said that without Clay Holmes, it'll win that game. But without Waldo hitting one literally into the foul pole or right next to it, we don't beat Corbin Burns. And like you said, we probably are still playing that extra inning game right now because nobody was scoring. So Waldo coming through against one of the game's best pitchers, I'm giving it to him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That was a hell of a hit. You know what was really impressive about it? Was that he managed to get inside on it. And he didn't get over the top of it. He didn't get under it. He absolutely got in position to line it. And boy, did he line it. He lined it so hard that it got stuck in between the netting and the foul pole. It needed to be wedged out. He absolutely lined that sucker like nothing on earth. So Uncle T didn't have a clutch award, so he's added it just now. He says it's Clay Holmes. Okay. So yeah, my vote is Waldo, nice and easy. Tats is Holmes. And the fans. Who do the fans have as the Clutch Award?
Stevie B has Cabrera. Frederick has Cabrera. Joan has Clay Holmes. So we got
2 to
One
1.
for Holmes. Yeah, 2-1.
It's a tough one. And NFB goes with Waldo.
Waldo.
So the fans have voted for Waldo. Happy for Waldo. Okay. The Take the L Award. God, there's an infinite number of candidates, I have to say. Let's start with Rob.
I'm gonna go to Tats's answer first because he says the Torres fans asking for apologies after hitting a home run that he is not cooked. So he's giving the L to the entire Gleyber Torres fan base. I didn't know the Yankees fans were separated into factions like it's the NWO, the pro Gleyber fans, the anti Gleyber fans.
I
Which
know
one's
it's like the Daniel Jones cult and the non-Daniel Jones cult.
This is interesting times in Yankee land. For a 20-win team, there sure is a lot of hatred going on. But yeah, Gleyber Torres has to take the L. Another rough series. I don't care about his home run. It didn't matter. It's his first home run in what 900 plate appearances or whatever it's been. A lot. I know maybe that's too big of a number, but since September of last year, he hasn't looked good at all. His defense is costing us runs constantly. It's hurting our pitchers because it's making them have to throw more. Gleyber Torres take the L.
Yeah. I liked Tats's answer. So, Tats, does that mean that Torres gets the L or actually Torres' fans that take the L?
I think he means the fans itself because that
The
if you want
fans
to
itself, I guess.
he said Torres fans. He didn't say Torres. He said those fans. Look at Tats. Usually the nicest guy in the room. He's attacking fans now.
I didn't know that Torres actually had fans.
It's a few. Apparently enough for Uncle Tats to have said. I didn't see any of that on Twitter. I don't know
No.
what.
Okay, well. Let's ask the fans.
Jones got Glaber and Judge or slash Judge. Stevie, the whole Yankee
Joe,
offense
make a
besides
decision.
Soto.
One, choose one.
Jones said L.I. What did L.I. do?
Did L.I. play?
Oh, he's a Glaber fan. Okay, he's a Glaber fan. All right.
Oh, that's true.
I was
And if
gonna
he
say,
Torres
what
is
the
a
hell?
lot of support, believe it or not. Well, yeah, you're right. A lot of it within the organization, unfortunately.
I think it's
Let's
Glaber.
see. Torres, NFB Torres. Torres. The fans have put in Torres getting the L. All right. Well, my L is the struggling captain, I'm afraid. Aaron Judge takes my L. He might have avoided that had he not had that post game press conference where he said that the offense played really, really well. The offense played legitimately like shit, and him included. How I thought he was turning it around. Like I was working in the previous awards, I was working on the basis that he was turning it around. I was edging towards him when I really wanted to give it to Soto. I gave it to him out of belief, and instead he went with a big fat nothing, and he was grinding into every double play he possibly could. Aaron Judge is getting away with the fact that he's beloved and everyone wears 99 jerseys. He is playing like absolute trash, and he needs to own it. And I would like to hear him own it a little bit more than he has been. So he takes the L for me. And now, the Best Pitcher Award. Let's go with Rob.
I got Luis Heel. Mentioned it earlier. Outdueled Corbin Burns. He went in on the road against a very good Baltimore team and shut him down.
Yeah.
Luis Heel, my pitcher of the series.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty easy, really. I mean, let's look at it. You know what? I didn't think Rodon pitched all that bad yesterday. I think it was a bit of bad luck. I think that he left. Well, to put in that situation with the bases loaded, nobody out, and he came out of it striking two guys out and getting the out on a pop up. I was excited about the rest of that start. Unfortunately, he left two pitches right down the plate, and the wind was carrying it a little bit because it looked like just normal fly balls. Unfortunately, they both carried, and then after that, he kind of lost it, and then he left a couple more pitches up. I think he got frustrated. I didn't think he was all that bad. I thought he pitched better than Cortez. Personally, it was just his stuff was better. It's just got a little bit more bad luck than Cortez. Cortez didn't get any help from his defense. Cortez wasn't great. I thought that Heel was just by far and away the best. He was absolutely amazing. He pitched amazing. He outdueled Corbin Burnes, and Corbin Burnes pitched amazing.
Yeah.
If he didn't run into Ozzy, who was looking fastball, and got in on that fastball, which is very hard to do, then he probably would have pitched a complete game shutout, and he would have done so with ease because he was it was an absolute walk in the park for Corbin Burnes. It really was. But credit to Luis Gil. He absolutely deserves so much credit from, and I'm really proud of the guy. Really am. It takes some balls to face up against currently the best pitcher in baseball and outduel him. So big credit to him. Let's look at Tats's best pitcher award. Everyone but Rodon. Interesting. So you think that Cortez deserves
Hamilton?
Hamilton didn't pitch well.
Got
but
saved.
All right. We're getting it in the book. Everyone but Rodon.
And the chat is basically all in agreement on Heel.
Yeah. I think so. All right. And the next award is the Aaron Boone marking out of 10.
Well, Tats gave him a 5. He said he was mid this series. Please don't use that word mid. Sound like a broccoli head teenager.
Everyone uses mid now.
Stevie B says 4. I don't think Boone did anything catastrophically wrong. It's not his fault these guys can't hit. The pitchers kept him in the game. And the fact that he actually got a little heated at Torres and that press conference, I'm going to give him just an extra point for that. I'm going to give him 7. I don't think he was terrible. He made going with Holmes for the 5-out save. I thought it was a fantastic move because it won us the game. You know what? I'm going to give him an 8. I think he was great.
We lost 3 out of 4, bro. We couldn't hit.
I can't blame Aaron Boone for the bats not hitting. What are you going to do? Turn Jahmai Jones on the bench or Taylor Trammell? They going to break you out of this?
Yeah, but he is in charge of the defensive errors and the mental errors going around. Like, he should... Like, Rizzo running into right field and Gleyber Torres doing everything wrong. I mean, yeah, I get trusting your veterans, but these guys don't look prepared. They didn't look prepared this series. Do you not think?
Yeah, but again, as a manager...
And another one, what about Verdugo batting 6th when he promised he was going to bat 4th?
Knock him down to a 7. I forgot about that for a second. Go back to a 7. High C. There we go. I completely forgot. Even though I brought it up earlier, I forgot that he did that.
Let's ask the fans. Stevie B is 4. Frederick has 6.
One more.
Tats is on fire in the chat. He's we're having lots of fun with Uncle T in the chat.
Yeah, Tats, it's all over Twitter.
Everyone
says mid.
5. Yeah, I hate the term mid because mid is used as a derogatory term, but in real life, mid isn't that bad.
You'd rather be mid than be terrible.
Exactly. So I sailed through my entire adult education being mid, and I got a degree. I think mid's good. Oh dear. Let's go. So 4, 6, 5. What should we say with are the fans rating? So Stevie B is 4. Frederick has 6.
Maybe we go with the 5, mid, right in the middle.
Mid. There we go. Mid out of 10.
Mid out of 10. We invented a new
That's what I'm
number.
gonna do. I'm just gonna write mid out of 10. Mid out of 10 for Boone from the fans. Ah, yeah, I'm actually really struggling with this one. It's really hard to gauge because we lost 3 out of 4 and we played like shit for all 4 games. Right? We played like we were in a catatonic state for much of it. I felt nothing but sympathy for Juan Soto. I felt terrible for him. A few things that I wasn't happy about with Boone. One, Rowson got thrown out, and Boone
Yeah.
didn't seem to care. Rowson's mouthing at the umpire after he got thrown out. He goes back and retreats back into the locker room, and Boone just lets it go. If that's any other manager, wouldn't he be at least going up to talk to the umpire, going, "What did he say? Wait, what's going on? Like, stand up for your coach, stand up for your players." I didn't see that. Well, he usually always stands up for his players, but he didn't stand up for his coach. That was weird for me. That was a little weird. Maybe he was afraid of getting thrown out himself. But dude, I don't know. It was just it just felt a little weird for me. So that knocks him down a point. He does gain a point for tying his shoelaces correctly. So yeah, it's a tough one. But I agree with the 5 out save. Although that's a direct contradiction to the fact he didn't want him to go any more than 4 outs. Now he's getting him 5 outs. What's next? 6 outs?
7.
And he also said that Verdugo was a cleanup hitter, and then spent much of that interview with Talking Yanks saying that he was for the reasons why he's our cleanup hitter, and then he comes back from paternity leave and puts him in the 6th hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some magical stuff. And why Grisham? Grisham stinks. Yeah. I don't give him a mid out of 10. I'm giving him a 3 out of 10.
Ooh.
3 out of 10. I didn't like the energy. I didn't like that Aaron Judge seemed pretty happy with the energy. I didn't like the fact that that Rizzo was running into the warning track and Clayper Torres was throwing the ball to the wrong base. That's the kind of stuff my manager needs to be having really serious conversations about, and nothing seems to be getting done about it. However, you're right about the fact that he called him out, so he gets an extra point for that. So now a 3 is now a 4 out of 10 for the fact that he called him out, because that's great. At a normal circumstance, I'd give him 10 out of 10 for the fact he called out Gleyber Torres, because there was no indecision with the way he said it. He's like, "This is the big leagues." I love that. Say that more. Say that again for the people in the back. Now, the Prick Award. We're not done yet, people. We've still got the Prick Award. Who is the fans' prick? Mine's easy. Gleyber fucking Torres, bro. You are the prick. You are an absolute prick. You're useless. I don't care that you hit a meaningless home run. The game was over. How about you do it when the game actually matters? Your OPS is still 500, bro, which is still a solid 300 points below average. Your defense is below average. Everything about you is below average. You are the definition of below average, and I'm getting sick of watching you. And to be honest, I think that if you take him out of this situation, I think this team would be much better, because the energy would be there, and they wouldn't be making stupid errors and stupid mental errors, and I would be just I would, honestly, as soon as Bertie and DJ LeMahieu are back, I would make them the second baseman. and Gleyber Torres can go, and I don't care what he does. Working at dry cleaners. Sick. So yeah, Gleyber Torres is my prick. Rob, who's your prick?
Going with that cop in the outfield that had the glare coming off his badge and made the broadcast talk about him for 20 minutes. They kept showing it, and I'm like, just show the game. We know why there's a delay right now. Get him off the screen. They had a good 20 seconds of just showing him standing there talking to somebody. I was like, this is not stop. This broadcast sucks. Why am I watching a cop standing there when there's a baseball game going on?
That was weird. And
it was
remember
really
when
weird.
it was the dude in the white T-shirt thought that he was the problem?
Yeah.
And he was kind of walking around in a circle. At one point, he's like, and it was actually the secret cop with a shiny watch.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. And they kept showing him they need a slow motion view of what was the problem. Like, you can tell what the problem is. The giant glare coming off the cop. That was the problem. So that's my prick.
Odd. That was odd. There's also another candidate. The dimensions in left field.
Stupid wall. Tats has the offense, says 6 runs in 4 games is embarrassing and they should forfeit their game check except Soto.
Agreed.
That's the old man on the lawn yelling at the clouds there. Give us your game checks. It sounds like something my dad would say. Give me your game check for not producing. I mean,
it wasn't cheap to sit in the Audi suite and the Yankees go completely shut down. And then it's like 5 shutouts this year, and it all seems to be fine. No, it's not fine. Aaron Judge says, "Oh, this offense is great. Been shut out 5 times. It's not been happening since like 1984." Give me a break. So yeah, the offense is a problem. I mean, Torres does win, but I have to say the dimensions in left field. That cost us so many runs, by the way. It cost us a 2-run home run from Waldo.
Yep.
And then it cost us a home run with Soto because he hit it far enough, but because there's a stupid kind of like a divot in the wall that just for no reason, out of nowhere, it just kind of goes whoop like that. And it hits the high point. And it had to be a triple instead of a home run. Poor Juan Soto, man. I just feel terrible for Juan Soto. My sympathy award goes to Juan Soto. I feel fucking so bad for him. Not only is he robbed of a home run, not only is he trying to steal every single base known to man to try and score because no one else can do anything. I just feel bad for him. And then he also got blinded by a cop. I feel terrible for Juan Soto. That was honestly like, what's Soto's address? I want to send him a sympathy card. I'm sorry, bro. We're trying to do better for you. We're trying to do better.
Yeah, well, that is the awards for this great series it was in Baltimore. Obviously, the Yankees did not play great, losing 3 out of 4. Hopefully, starting tonight, they can turn it around against the Tigers. That would be swell. So this is going to wrap it up for us here at the Pinstripe Chronicles. Thank you to everybody that was sticking with us for this hour-and-a-half long episode. Tats was in the chat, Frederick, D-Rod, Stevie B, NFE, Joan, Jonathan, the usual suspects. Garcia was here. I think Mark, I don't know if I've seen Mark in the chat before, but Mark, good to see you as well. So thank you to everybody, as usual, for sticking with us. It was a great show. We will be back on Monday morning for a new episode, hopefully breaking down a good series against the Tigers. And Sunday morning, as usual, Lynn will have the upper deck. So be sure to tune into that. Once again, for Rob and Donald at the Pinstripe Chronicles, we will see you all Monday. Wear those pinstripes of pride. Play hard.